It's Gary here, and I'm glad to be here with you. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, why do people buy Apple products? Now, if you already own an Apple product, then you probably just want to know why other people choose to buy Apple products besides you. Are they motivated by the same reasons that you are? I am convinced that if you do own an Apple product, then you think that apples are the best. How do people pay hundreds of dollars for Apple products? And why is this necessary? I had asked you guys what you thought, and you submitted all kinds of comments. Way too many for me to even include here. What I did was categorize everything, and it turned out that there were 16 different reasons you guys gave for why you chose to buy Apple products. We are going to go through the process now. At this point, the number one thing that I hear over and over and over again by far is the ecosystem. And I am sure you can guess what it is. We have discussed it a lot over the years. Most of you have heard about it all over the place. In fact, I made a video about this a while back, and I will provide you a link down below so that you can have a look at it further for now. As we are just talking about how it makes people more efficient, we will just stick to the fact that it does so. At least, it makes me more efficient since everything is so well organized, not just between one or two devices, but between all of the different Apple devices. Things like airdropping. There is definitely something about that is able to make me feel like I'm able to get work done quite a bit faster, for instance. And as you look across the entire Apple ecosystem, you see that things also tend to work really well. Apple isn't perfect, of course, on the whole. However, there are no other devices or software on the market that offer the same number of devices or the same kinds of devices. So, the ecosystem is a big thing, but it's made up of many little things that make it so nice. Apple's stance on privacy is another thing that people love. However, I would emphasize that it is a stance. It is impossible for any company to guarantee 101% privacy for everything that you do on your device, but Apple cares enough to have a stance. As a final note, it should be noted that if you use an Apple product, you won't be facing any problems with your data security. This is something that cannot be said about certain other things as well. Another issue that was important to people, at least to this audience, was longevity. You're right. It is really satisfying to be able to purchase a device and have it last for decades. And I know a lot of people have had similar experiences where they bought an Apple device and they got a lot of use out of it. It was quite surprising to learn they were the top two. It makes sense. Yet I hadn't considered it before. According to them, aesthetics are timeless. That's why they're timeless. Therefore, the designs Apple came up with are classics. Since Apple's devices tend to be supported for quite some time, even if they look a little chunkier or a little thicker a few years from now, you won't really notice that much because of the longevity bonus. The Apple iPhone has been supported on cell phones for a number of years, probably 5 generations of phones at this point. Therefore, you don't have to upgrade every year or every 2 years if you still have that old phone. You will have access to the latest software. That's pretty cool. Another huge motivator for Apple customers is resale value. Being able to take advice and still find that it has value, sell it, and then use that money to buy a new device. I'm going to look at my notes here and I see that the iPhone X retailed for $999 brand new, and it was still that price 9 months later, $690. That's pretty amazing. Comparing this to the Galaxy S9, which was $720 brand new 9 months later, it was only worth $290. The difference is dramatic. Apple's products also appeal to you because of their simplicity. There's no need to know how to build it. Unlike other types of computers, it's just something you take on board. Fortunately, it's working. It's not that I mean to downplay some people's love for tinkering and upgrading things, but you don't have to with Macs or iPad or iPhone. As a culture, Apple is all about simplicity, and it doesn't just apply to the primary products. Let me give you an example. But did that new Apple store in New York, which is famous for its cube design from long ago, starting out with 90 panes of glass. I don't know why Apple did this. There must have been some other reason besides the symbol. They removed the head and built a new building. The glass was only 15 panes thick. It's amazing how they simplified it. It translates into products that are easier to use. One of the things I can appreciate about my SIP, and that several of you have echoed, is the very existence of Apple stores. Many companies in the tech sector have their own store, but not like the Apple Store. So if you have problems, You can just make an appointment and go in and talk to a real person in person. If you want to simply purchase something and not wait 2 days for it to arrive, or if you want to see what it looks like, touch it, feel it, hold it before you order it, you can go into the store and do that. Now I'll admit that the closest Apple store for me is like 50 miles away. This isn't very convenient, but it is close enough that if I pre-ordered something, it is worth it to go an hour down the road and pick it up. Recently, we sent a Mac in for a keyboard problem. We had it fixed within 2 days. They didn't need to send it off, but I dropped it off at the store, and it came back to my house in like 2 business days. That was pretty quick turnaround, and it happened on the weekend. My absence during business hours was not even during business hours. Amazing. In addition to Apple's own apps, you guys have said that you appreciate how different it is. My current discussion is not just about iMessage, even though that's what always comes up. There are several people I message, of course, but just the pre-installed apps like GarageBand. What a great piece of software that comes with your Mac for free. This is also true, as well as that. There are some fantastic premium apps available. I use Final Cut Pro all the time, which is highly optimized. Exports take forever, normally, but not with Final Cut. Another very awesome feature that Apple provides to customers is family sharing, allowing you to save money. And who wouldn't want that at a time when so many subscriptions are hitting us hard? Apple is partly responsible for it, isn't it? The company wants to make more money by moving into services. Whatever, iPhone sales are down, subscribers are high. To be able to subscribe to Apple Music and share it with other people in the house, so that no one has to pay for their own subscription for Apple News, and maybe Apple Arcade as it rolls out. That's an incredible bonus. Thanks a lot. You probably guessed this already. When talking about Apple stores, we barely touched on this issue. Apple's customer service is exceptional. 7 out of 8 calls to customer service are handled very well, especially for pro support. It is a pleasure to work with Apple professional support. Outstanding. I would describe it as hyperbole if I had a better word. Could it really be that good? A couple of times a year, I call it pro, and somebody who is so knowledgeable always answers helps me, whether I'm looking for information. There's just no way for me to do it. I don't know whether there's an actual problem, and they guide me through it. When it comes to Apple's pro support, I've never been disappointed. Now we're going to talk about design. I'm surprised that it took so long to get to this item, but this sort of represents how often each item was mentioned. In conclusion, design. Apple has beautiful, iconic, and simple designs. And it's not just their products. It's evident in their new home office spaceship look as well. Everything that makes an Apple product great is encapsulated in this design. It's easy to use, looks great, and feels premium. One of the best things about being an Apple customer is the community. There are so many awesome Apple users all over the world. Whether it's a group of people at your school or work, or a group of people at an Apple store like WWDC, where you can hang out with others who enjoy the same things as you. You can discuss the camera as well as the games you've played, the apps you've used, or the apps you haven't used yet. There are so many Apple users out there that it's easy to fit in. I thought this was very honest. Many people said they buy Apple products simply because they're accustomed to them. That's my understanding as well. They said, "That's me. I love to experiment to some extent now. I enjoy seeing the new innovations, whether they are Apple related or not." That makes sense to me. This concept of familiarity. Good. Apple Gear has been my tool of choice when building this channel for me personally. Back then, this blog was built on Apple Gear. And back in college, I learned how to do design and stuff on Apple Gear. Being familiar with something doesn't matter as long as it works. It just has to work. There's no other way to put it. People also mention the App Store, which makes sense. Many apps hit the Apple ecosystem before they hit other platforms. The Apple's walled garden approach will do a better job of keeping things safer, perhaps more secure, as compared to perhaps some other platforms. We're back on the ecosystem because what you buy on your phone may also be available on your tablet, your Apple TV, or your Apple MacBook. Making one purchase here and spreading it across all your devices is awesome. Exclusive apps are another big reason. Several apps are available only here. As an example, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you could use Timeframe, a beautiful calendar application by Moleskine Moschino. Unfortunately, I am not sure how to pronounce it, but it looks great. I'm sure you won't be able to get this anywhere else. Overcast is another good example, which is a feature that I personally like. The design, however, does not really appeal to me, but the ability to take a clip out of a show, like your favorite parts, and share that on social media is really great. This is probably the best way to browse Reddit with Apollo for Reddit. In my opinion, that's only possible on ILS, and that's basically the same as the hyperlapse Instagram editor, which came out a long time ago. For the longest time, it was only available on the iOS platform. Maybe it's still available on the iOS platform. I'm currently using a note-taking application called Bear, which I don't know if it's still available. There are a lot of apps that I like to switch around with, but for me, I like Bear, which is only available on the Apple ecosystem. I want to add something that's down here at the bottom of the list, but I love Apple Pay, and it is down here at the bottom of the list. We're going back to the ecosystem where I can use it on my phone again. Since we are going back to that ecosystem, I like to use it on my watch, and this is the way I prefer to use it. I'm really happy that Target has finally gotten Apple Bake-in. Basically, I no longer need my wallet to leave the house. I can just use my watch to get groceries, watch and go home if I need gas. Walgreens, watch Apple Pay is great. All right. In closing, I mention one more thing because, honestly, I don't think it's the best reason to buy Apple stuff. But a lot of people said they buy Apple products to look good. The AirPods are meant to make people see them, or the Apple Watch is meant to be seen with it, or that shiny new thing. I think the MacBook is just telling people that, yeah, you have a lot of money and can afford it. But that's not a really good reason to buy it, though I know many of you told me that is why you buy Apple products. But do you know what else? It doesn't matter to you. Nobody cares if you have Apple products or not. I think it's safe to say that people have found a lot of reasons to go with Apple. Please give me a thumbs up on the video and let me know down in the comments if you're interested. There's also Siri. You might have guessed that nobody is buying an Apple device right now since it is Siri. But do you know what? I still find Siri useful. I enjoy using it. I'm sorry, Siri. I made a phone call earlier today while walking if I had access to your stuff all the time. I only had my watch and AirPods and it worked perfectly. The feature is convenient, but it doesn't really stand out as a selling point. I hope that makes sense. Thanks. Please leave me a comment down below if I missed anything. Let me know what other reasons you have for buying Apple products. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And thanks for watching.